Yo, what's good, everybody? Brent here, back with another stream. Hope everybody's having an amazing Friday. Bitcoin coming down hard today. Lots of panic, like always. But today, I'm going to give you my full bull case or the full bull case for 2026. I'm going to break down not just within the Bitcoin and ETH charts, which we've been talking a lot about, but in every other area, I'm going to talk about and show you why pretty much every other indicator that's marked a major bull market top for crypto is pretty much at the complete opposite side of the spectrum. Meaning, pretty much every other indicator that's marked a top in the past is nowhere near overheated. Biggest one being at the top of 2020, even the top of the end of 2024. You noticed every single person was extremely bullish and on the timeline, and now it's kind of the complete opposite. Bull markets don't end with everybody calling the top. Bull markets end with euphoria, with everybody convinced that we're going much higher, and that's the complete opposite where we're at right now. So I'm going to give you the full breakdown in here in a second, but hope everybody's having an amazing day. Let me know in the chat. I always like to see where everybody's at in the world. We have a wide variety on crypto Twitter. Most of my audience are people on crypto Twitter from the US, but there's a lot of people from Asia, Africa, Europe. It's great to see where everybody's at. So already 200 people in here in the first couple of minutes. Always love to fucking come on here. What's up, Rojam? How's everybody doing? What's up, Milton? What's good, Soul? What's up, Wonka? EMP? But yeah, crazy last few days. Obviously, everybody panicking. I'm seeing all the reasons on here on crypto Twitter of why we've topped here. But again, just this, I've been very, very consistent here that I think what we're seeing here on the chart wise on Bitcoin is pretty much this very similar to what we saw in June, where Bitcoin came down, first bounce, retested the all-time high, and came back down for one more low. I remember back here a couple months ago, back in June, same kind of sentiment as now. Everybody was either super high uncertainty or just convinced that we're going much lower. And then after it swept the low there, just went and made a new all-time high. I think we're going to see something very similar here, again, with Bitcoin retesting that all-time high, coming back down and making one more low, and then moving higher. What also gives me such high conviction in this move down here too, that this is very corrective, is that this move down since August 14th, this smaller move down after we retested that all-time high, is also very corrective in nature. What I mean by that is that it has lots of choppy. It's not just a straight move down. It's very choppy, has multiple bounces in between. What that signifies to me is that even though we're moving down here, that this move is corrective and that the sell pressure is drying up and that the next big impulse to the upside is going to start soon. Again, a lot of what I go on, I don't use a lot of indicators. A lot of my technical analysis is based on the behavior at which the chart is moving or the price is moving. Essentially, there's three major market phases that every single asset in the world is in at one given time. It's either impulsing, just big moves up or down, it's correcting, or it's topping out with it, which is a peak. Each of these three phases have distinct characteristics, and right now, corrective behavior again is slow, choppy movements down. What that signifies is that sell pressure, even though it's still dominant, that it's slowing down and that buy pressure is going to take back over. Whereas the bear market tops of the past in Bitcoin, once it topped out here, it just went straight down 50%. It wasn't slow and choppy in nature. It's very impulsive. That's what you want to avoid getting caught in, right? But what we're seeing on Bitcoin is the opposite of that. It's very choppy and slow down, even though this is a significant correction on Bitcoin, which is around 10, 15%. It's still very slow and choppy in nature. And again, what that's telling me is that this move is kind of seeing its last gasps, that this corrective behavior since August 14th is going to lead to a bottom here soon. And usually what we see here to kind of end these bottoms is some type of consolidation. So again, it's a very wide range, but I see Bitcoin bottoming out here between here and 100K. I'm not overcomplicating it. I don't have a long on Bitcoin. I'm still adding to some ETH longs I have, but just letting this play out. I think, again, we're going to see that bottom here in this zone at around 100, 105K, or between 105 and 100K, I think. And from there, probably into Q4, possibly early this next month in September, we start that next move higher, where I believe Bitcoin will hit 130, 140, very likely take off to the upside here, because of what I think is going to happen is the retail normie type of people who haven't been in since 2022, I think are going to come in for the first time. So before I give the rest of the bull case, I want to see what's up in the chat. What's up, Wonka? What's up, Soul? Already saw that. 20 pin here in Czech Republic. Damn, that's what's up. I haven't been to the Czech Republic. Italy. Okay, we got some Europeans here. Nigeria. It's 20 p.m. I don't know what that means. Is that 20? Is that UTC? Us here in the US, we're basic. I'm on PST. So right now it is 11:30 a.m. for me. Having a great day, Bren. Hope you're having a great. Yeah, I'm having a great day, man. Just blessed to be here. Honestly, just love getting on these streams with you guys. Not feeling the best today, and obviously not a ton going on in the market besides everything coming down. But really, this is like the highlight of my week, getting on with you guys. So, what's up, Miss D? How you doing? This dip has no mercy. Yeah, it's again, it's significant, but there's a lot of reason to believe again this is just a corrective move, just like we saw in June. Sao Paulo, Brazil. I didn't know that's where you were from, member man. That's what's up, bro. I'm still standing just because of ABTPP. That's what's up. Thank you, Ayush. That's good. Yeah, everybody, we'll go over some profit taking stuff in a bit, but check out my profit taking strategy in the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. Right now, I think is the time you need to get your profit taking strategy kind of, dialed, because the people who are going to win this bull market are the people who can take profits successfully. What's up, Brand? What's up, Richie? Yes, very corrective, 100%. What's up, African? What's up? You know who I am. What's up, EMP? What's up? What do you think is the future of the trenches and the meme coin trading / gambling? Amazing question. Crypto lover, I'm going to go ahead and star this here so I have it for after. But we're going to go over that. I want to go over my bull case for exactly why I think Bitcoin and crypto in general has yet to see its full strength, and why 2026 will be the most explosive of the bull market by far. What's up? Reppin' ticker Bitcoin. Yes, we'll go over ticker Bitcoin, but I think ticker Bitcoin's up there with Giga, Lock-in, and a few others for like the most slept on, but like best risk to reward meme coins right now. I mean, ticker Bitcoin, not only that, but Sprotos, I think might be the most slept on, like best risk to reward meme coin right now, just because of a lot of things. What's up, Low? What's up, Low Popo? Appreciate you, brother. Nice to see you. My portfolio is down as hell, and I got rugged in a meme coin, so one of the worst days. Sorry to hear that, bro. But plenty of opportunity ahead. What's wrong, Bren? Why do I not have a good day? I'm having a great day, bro. Live from Portland. What's up, Paco? Shout out to you, man. My dad's actually from Oregon. Been to Portland a few times. Love that city. Can you elaborate on the people from 2022 coming back to the market? It feels like everyone is here already. That's interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, that's interesting that you have that perspective. Cry Wolf, let me know, were you here in 2020, 2021? I think most of us, if we weren't actually trading, remember how nuts it got, like just in the mainstream, and how everybody was trading crypto. Like I'm talking about from high school kids or just out of high school, whatever, to like grown adults. Back in 2020, 2021, I mean, it was crazy. Everybody was trading crypto. Now in the mainstream, it still seems like it's kind of the opposite. It seems like there's still like a brand, kind of people have a bad taste in their mouth from FTX. A lot of people, if you just ask them. But with that being said, I mean, that's fair. I don't know if you were here on 2021, but to me, I feel like 2020, 2021 was like night and day, not only in just the amount of the movements, but just how everybody was trading crypto, right? I don't think we're anywhere near there. And unpopular opinion, I think we get back there in 2026, right? I think we kind of started getting there in the end of November. If anybody remembered when Chill Guy kind of went off, a lot of TikTok people were talking about it again. Our Telegram channel, Boss Man Calls, was ripping, like having all time high subscriber like counts or whatever in that first few weeks, and then Bitcoin topped, and then Trump came out. But I think in this next wave here in end of 2024, 2025, beginning of 2026, we're going to see for the first time those normies start to come back in the market. A lot of people say, "Oh, these normies got wrecked in FTX." I put out this tweet yesterday that people say there'll never be another normie mania, but people get wrecked in sports betting every day, and that doesn't stop them from keep coming back, right? I think people are always going to want to speculate, and even more so with crypto. I think what it's going to take is just a bit more of prices going up, especially in the meme coins, which will attract people to come in, and eventually it'll hit a tipping point like it always does. So, cry wolf. People bidding are institutions and degens. Yeah, that's fair. A lot of it has been driven by institutions, but I think what a lot of this was institutions kind of catching up and and getting their bids in. Like in this clip right here, he kind of breaks it down. Clouded.
I think we're just playing catch up until now. I think this was all catch up, man. I think this is TradFi playing catch up. If anything, they just realized they're offsides and they bought up all the big boys like Bitcoin and ETH and whatnot. And like, I think retail's really gonna heat up. I agree. Like Solana had its thing, Trump coin happened, but I think like, yeah, man, in 2021, even in DeFi season, like in 2020, it was way more sharps than just retail for DeFi. But generally, you could come for every day for months on end, and there was like big trades happening. There was big farms happening, like mints and other shit there was just so much going on that you could wake up and flip 1 ETH into 2 ETH, go to sleep, and do that for like 3 months.
Yeah, so I'm in agreement. I think we're nowhere near what we saw in 2020, 2021, and I think we get there next year. Trying to stay positive, 100%. You got to just keep going. Got to just Brent, how are you, mate? I'm doing amazing, Kick. It's nice to see you, bro. Ghost Burster. Yes, most slept on. Shitcoin shitting up or down. Let's see. Soul Meta is dead, waiting for the good old times. Yeah, I think we'll go over it, but I think that the trenches will actually see a resurgence as well. But yeah, I want to go ahead and give my full case really quickly here on why I think the bull market is just getting started. And not only just the charts, but in every single metric from past bull market tops. I'm talking from euphoria to charts to fear and greed index to sentiment. I think everything is pointing to this just being another reset. And I think 2026 is not only going to be another strong year, but probably the strongest year we've seen since the crypto bull market started in 2022. So I think the first case and why I think the bull market is just getting started is the corrective chart pattern. I think it's simple. A lot of people get caught up in the moment and what's going on, but if they simply zoom out and compare this correction to past corrections just in the last year, they'll see that again, this is just a variation on the theme and just a slight variation on the playbook of how these corrections usually always look. There's a few different ways they look. Usually, they're either consolidation or these corrective channel-like structures where price will go up, see a bounce, usually see 2 to 4 lows, and then continue to the upside. I think to me that this correction from August right now looks very similar and will, in hindsight, look very similar to what we saw in June, where Bitcoin came down, came back and retested the all-time high, failed to break, and swept the low one more time before moving up. I think that's pretty much what we're going to see here. Bitcoin came up, retested the all-time high. Obviously, in this one, blew above it, and then came back down, swept the low one more time. And I think we're entering a zone here at 100 to 105 that I think is very likely going to be the low for this correction. And Bitcoin sends into Q4 and Q1 2026. 130, 140, probably 150K on this next leg. So yeah, I think point number one on why I think this bull market is just getting started is simply the corrective chart behavior, corrective chart pattern, whatever you want to call it, that we're seeing in August. Simply looks just like the one we saw in June. Looks a smaller version of what we saw here, with again bounces and lows. What I'd have to be worried about is if the price was looking more like it did in 2021, where it topped out and just went straight down 50% with no bounces or no significant bounces. What we're seeing here is the opposite. We came down about 10 or 15% and bouncing and moving down super slow and choppy like. I think, again, that's the opposite of bear market tops and what usually bear market tops are. And I think this corrective behavior takes Bitcoin again into the 140, 150K range. Point number two is the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is, did I exit out of it? Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is at neutral right now. Yeah, I know. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is at neutral right now. This was 2 hours ago. Yeah, at 50. Anybody who's been around in 2020, 2021, and even in 2024 knows that bull markets almost never, or at least bullish periods almost never end when euphoria is low, when everybody's bearish, right? Big bull market tops or big tops usually form when euphoria is high, when fear and greed index is high and is in the super greed territory. So I think this goes along with not only is the fear and greed index low, but sentiment is just extremely shitty, right? Everybody is, every time we get a dip, everybody's calling for the top. And my experiences in the past and what we've seen data wise is that when we actually do see a big bull market top or a bear market top, whatever, it's when euphoria is high. I remember in 2021 NFTs, if you would have told anybody that Bored Apes were gonna top out in 2021, they all come for you and all fucking attack you, right? Like the sentiment at the bull market tops are always euphoria and we're gonna go higher. It's the opposite of right now. So again, fear and greed index and sentiment, I think, are completely opposite of what we will see when we're actually at the top. When we're actually at the top, we're going to see not only prices high, but everybody just super gung ho on the future, thinking Bitcoin's going to go up another 2 or 3x, that the meme coins are going to keep going for years to come. And at that point is when you want to make sure to be, have a lot of profits taken. Next point, I think, is if we look at the charts for the the iOS Apple App Store. In the past, when we've seen bull market tops, the App Store, at least, and not even just in the daily or the weekly, like for weeks at a time, you'll see the Coinbase app or Robinhood or these other ones at the very top of the App Store market. And obviously, what that is a reflection of is normie retail and normies coming in and fully being using crypto apps. Obviously, we're looking here. This only shows the top 30, but Coinbase is nowhere to be found. Again, when it actually is the top, what we're going to see here is Coinbase probably in the top three to five usually. Sometimes it's even number one at the top finance apps. So again, this is another indicator that we're nowhere near, why 2026 is going to be even stronger. And then, the biggest, most obvious one is probably that prices are still down, 50 to 90%. We still have great memes like Giga, Mog, pretty much everything else down 50 to 90% still. At the top, major tops, you see the opposite. You see alts, everything at all-time highs. Again, when we actually do see the top, I think it's going to be when prices are up 10 to 15x, 30x in weeks. And everybody's just erratically bullish. We're not seeing any of that yet. So, and then, another big one is just sentiment on Twitter. Like I just said a second ago, right now, you look at the timeline, every time there's a dip here, you're getting, everybody's just panicking and just going for all the reasons why this is the top. What I think this is a reflection of is that most people are just not invested. A lot of people right now either blew or just were invested in the wrong coins and lost everything, or they panic sold. when we actually are at the top in 2026, I think what we're going to see is everybody just euphorically bullish, and everybody just every time ETH or Bitcoin dips, they're buying the dips. And what that is a reflection of is that everybody's going to be full ported at that point. The crowd or most people are full ported at the top, and they're don't have anything at the bottom. So again, just another indication that we have seen nothing yet. And then the last one again is just I don't think normie retail has come in yet. Again, I think somebody mentioned earlier that it seems like all the retail is here. Why, of course, there is people have joined in the last couple years trading and going into pump fund and all this other stuff. I think, again, this is nowhere near to what we saw in 2020 and 2021 levels. FTX kind of hindered that. I think us seeing it quicker, and a lot of other stuff, Celsius and a lot of these other ones that went down. But again, that was 3-5 years ago. What we have now too is regulatory clarity is the last one. We have obviously the Genius Act for stablecoins. We have the biggest one where a lot of people are kind of sleeping on right now. Yeah. Oops, I didn't share my screen or unshared my screen. The biggest one where a lot of people are sleeping on is Project Crypto. I definitely, after this right now, go and watch this video where the SEC chairman talks about how in the past SEC was stifling crypto adoption and in developments in the US, and how the SEC and the other regulators' main goal is to not put a bunch of rules into crypto, but to get out of the way, essentially, to deregulate the industry and allow put out some guidelines so that the industry can thrive. I think what all of this is going to allow is not only founders to build cool shit, but I think a lot of people who may not have invested in crypto in the past because of the SEC, securities laws, all that stuff is going to open up to a lot more people to be open to investing in a crypto who care about these things, who care about regulators and all that. So yeah, from the prices and from Bitcoin to the lack of euphoria on the charts from the Apple Store, charts, from the lack of prices being up, fear and greed, index. I think every one of these little things are not only not pointing to a top, but they're pointing to what we see at the bottom of corrections. I think what this last year allowed for Bitcoin and in 2020, well, what allowed for the rest of the whole crypto industry and the meme coins, the alts, everything outside of Bitcoin and ETH is this essentially a cool down period where leverage and sentiment and all that stuff's allowed to cool down, which again I think is setting up for an explosive 2026. So yeah, I hope that gives you a little bit more clarity, and maybe if you were really uncertain to maybe you weren't here in 2021, maybe you weren't here in 2020, you just joined in the last few years, you were thinking, is this how it is at a major top? I can just tell you that again, every indicator is pointing to us just getting started. And by I mean just getting started, meaning we have not even seen anywhere close to the strength that I think we're going to see in 2026. And I think finally we're going to get that more of a blow off top where we get a big euphoric move that again probably ends in a crash in 27, 28 or 26, 27. But yeah, let me know. I want to know what you guys think in the chat. Do you agree with me? Do you think Bitcoin and crypto is seen its top? Do you think we're going to see a strong 2026? I want to know what you guys think. Ayush says, I've been printing during these corrections using Pionex grid bots. I suggest people running those bots. Interesting. Mog is getting cooked. Yeah, we'll look at Mog in a second. I think Mog's in a great place. Yes, the bull market is just getting started. Don't want to miss this bull market. Yep. Is your portfolio also red, or is it just me? Yeah, everybody's portfolio is red, brother. I think it's just luckily my meme coins are most of my alts aren't down too crazy, but I know a lot of newer launches are getting fucked. Thoughts on the pump airdrop? Amp, I think what pump does off that airdrop is going to matter. Is going to depend a lot on what kind conditions look like near that time. I think if the market's pumping and everything's going well, I don't think the airdrop will really matter. I think pump can keep going up. We're gonna go over pump in a second. I really like pump here, pump token, pump coin. If that guy didn't sell 24K Bitcoin, would we be on our way to new all-time highs? It's tough to say, Mr. Empathetic. I think we were already in a correction at that point anyway. And usually we do get a bit of a cool off during August anyway. Have I tried Pinex grid bots? No, I haven't. Whenever I'm buying Lofi, it gets down by 10%. What the fuck is wrong with me? I bought 3 dips. I think Lofi very likely has a run. I think Sui, big chain. I think most of these bigger chains are going to have some type of meme movement, and usually the top the top coins usually do well. So I think Lofi will do well. I still hold most of my Lofi. Ayush, you can quit spamming the comment, brother. I saw it. How much do you have to put into the Uranus cooked? My first bull run. I'm just wondering if it's gonna happen. How long you been around, Pips? I think crypto's been in a pretty strong bull run since 2022. Obviously, whenever Bitcoin comes down, the alts and the memes are going to get wrecked. So they kind of go through these mini bear markets, but we've been in this bull market for a bit. I agree with Misfit 100. Been buying 10% dips and it always goes lower. Yeah, it'll go lower until it doesn't. It's just right now I think it's just about betting on good communities or teams that continue to show that they're building through this bear market. So yeah, I think what we're seeing here, what we're going to see here for Bitcoin very likely is in the next few weeks. Could the bottom could come in today, or it could chop sideways like for a couple weeks for all I know. But I think in September we're going to see the bottom and very likely a move up higher. And to end the year, I think to end the year we're going to be a lot higher than we are now. I'll put it that way. So let's keep an eye on this, see where we're at next stream. But I think the bottom is way closer than we are to the top, if that makes sense. Like I think most of this move is for sure down. We're probably seeing the last legs of it. It's just interesting to see how everybody panics on like the last leg there. And as you can see, what we got in June, that last leg down was very violent. It actually wicked down there, kind of broke this quote unquote support where I'm sure a lot of people had their stop losses. A lot of people were looking to exit once it broke there. And what did we see? Just broke down, wicked there, and then moved back up. So that's another thing. That's why you want to give yourself room and not put your stops right at a support, quote unquote support, or a recent low. Is because oftentimes, whether it's orchestrated by the institutions or whatever, you're going to get your stop hunted a lot of times and just taken out because that's where a lot of people have their stops at. So, yeah. Bitcoin thinks it moves higher soon. ETH is a lot more corrective and just makes me have even more conviction. And this move up is just way more obviously corrective. Again, corrections have bounces and choppy behavior versus the impulses, which are just straight up with very little pullbacks. So yeah, I think between here and 4,100, we're very likely going to bottom out. And I don't think it's a coincidence that pretty much on all these major memes, we're coming towards the bottom or already at the bottom of what I think are corrective channels. Giga coming back down towards this low. I think it could go a little bit lower, but any Giga under 100 million, is just absolutely fucking free. I think it's just simple. A lot of people try to overcomplicate it, but memes, I think, are going to continue to be a strong category for crypto. I think they're going to evolve, but they're going to continue to be a strong period for crypto, especially when normies come in. But yeah, I think, and then coins like Giga that have been around for a year plus and look like this, I think are just no brainers. I think Giga, if memes have a strong run in 26, is going to $1 billion plus, and that's probably very conservative. Again, I probably sound crazy saying though, like a 10x, it's conservative, but think about the amount of attention that's on Giga right now and how most people just aren't buying this. That's why we're able to get these 10x entries, is because how low the attention is right now. And this happens oftentimes in crypto. You see it with Fartcoin right now. Fartcoin was everybody's favorite coin a couple of months ago, and now very low attention. Um, these are the times you want to be buying coins, is when you see a great coin that has all the great fundamentals, all the great community, but just for a time that attention and the prices are low. That's when you want to strike. That's when I've the best opportunities and the best biggest wins in my trading career has been buying great coins when attention and price is pulling back. So Giga, I think, is just absolutely just free here. 100, I think it goes to a billion, but with a ceiling that is much much higher. Um, Mog, same kind of thing. Um, Mog, same kind of thing. Also approaching another corrective channel low here. Um, can you just guys give me 2 seconds here? I'll be right back. Hold on. My apologies. But yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that all these meme coins, Mog, SPX, Giga, all approaching lower time frame corrective channels. Let me see, where did SPX go? Oh, Mog. So yeah, approaching this corrective channel low, and I think it moves higher here soon. Let's see. Um, uh, Lock in doesn't look as great, but I think this also turns too. And then even Pengu, same thing, all approaching lower time frame corrective channels. And I think all of them are very likely bottomed out. I think Pengu, if you've been looking for an entry, down what 30-40% here, I think it's going to continue to be strong. There's a lot of announcements that they've been hyping up, a lot of stuff coming. So I really like Pengu here. Same with SPX. XPX even is down 50-60%. This is another one that is just like obvious bet. That's what meme coins allow us to get sometimes, is these great entries, because they just correct so hard sometimes. So 60% right here. I think yeah, I'm aware. Hold on one sec. I apologize. I had to handle something really quick, but yeah, SPX, Giga, Mog, everything approaching kind of corrective channel lows, and I think we're coming to the end of here these corrections. How are we feeling about the U.S. commerce data coming on chain via Chainlink? All of those chains, yeah, I think all of that's good. Again, just adoption for the assets, just puts mind share on the industry in general. What do you think about the recent Sol pump with alts not really following? Yeah, it's these things are going to move at different times. You don't. Sometimes alts are lead, sometimes Sol will lead, sometimes they'll move at the same time. Just about not overcomplicating it. I think they're all going to move. Just about even the sideways correction would be a blessing here. Yeah. 108 currently making everything on discount, but what if we reach 105 then again red candles? Don't overcomplicate it, bro. Over the correction's coming to its end soon here, I think. Thoughts on Link and hype? I'm extremely bullish, Ayush, on the few like apps in crypto that are actually generate like a ton of revenue and have a lot of utility. And there's only a few coins that actually have true utility. Link is one of them. Everybody, all the big crypto projects use their oracles, and they're doing a lot with like making blockchains interoperable. And like somebody just said here, they're already connecting to bank infrastructure. And then hype, obviously, is just another huge revenue generating beast that I think hyper liquid adoption is just going to continue to go up. So I like both of them. Yeah, let's go look at pump real quick. Let me know what you guys think about pump in the chat. Are you guys like bullish on it overall? I know right out of the gate, I had a long open on it. Did well for a second. Obviously was up, but got stopped out and break even, and then just like, been accumulating slowly on the way down. I think for pump, the bull case on pump is simple. And if again, just like we were talking about with Giga, if there's a strong meme coin or just crypto run in 26, stuff like pump fun who have so much attention and spotlight on them and the ability to create attention to the token that I think, especially with buybacks, I think right now they're doing 99% buybacks right now, meaning 99% of the fees that they're getting, they're just sending straight back into the token. I think, and just locking it up. So I think stuff like that, what they're doing with the ecosystem and supporting projects, all of that stuff will really matter when conditions are good here. And then when you combine that with pump funds, nice consolidation here for the last month. I think all of this is just pointing to a very likely move, probably back to all-time highs. Again, with a ceiling that is just extremely high because pump fund is just one of the biggest infrastructures in all of Solana. A lot of people throw around the term extraction when it comes to the pump fund. But extraction is pretty much taking something for nothing, right? You're just extracting and just completely taking that money away. But everybody uses pump fund to as a service essentially, or a platform for them to potentially make money as like a gambling platform, right? Um, so that's just like calling Vegas or one of these other casinos or whatever extractive. It's like, no, you're using that service and they're charging you a fee for something that you're using, right? So I don't really view pump.fun as extractive. Do I think pump.fun is the best way to run up your crypto account and to get rich in crypto and to build wealth in crypto? Definitely not. But as far as the infrastructure and the actual pump.fun, the pump coin and the actual app and technology behind it, I'm very bullish on. Not just for meme coins. I think again, just any of these top launch pads that allow people to create tokens very easily, I think are going to get continue to grow. So yeah, I like pump token here. I think it probably goes back to all-time highs in the next coming months and could go a lot higher. We could see it at 10, 20 billion again because of how big of a piece of infrastructure it is and how much attention the founders have and will put on it on the token, I think. So not only that, but I think a lot of these institutional types that are already in really value like
revenue and all these other things, which obviously Pump.Fun has a lot of. So back in January 2021, I thought May 2021 was a pivotal point, was told to buy XRP at 32 cents, and we all on the team never looked back. I remember it even lower. Yeah, that's funny, Paco. I was telling my boy Can't Stop Me Now the other day um, that XRP, this is a little bit of a story. So I actually been dabbling in crypto for 9 years back in 2016, 2016, yeah. Was messing with Forex for a little while and actually got started trading Forex and crypto eventually on Facebook. Was in some other online, business type stuff. Got into Forex and quickly from that same type of group of people discovered crypto. And so I was trading crypto on on Facebook for a few years, which is nuts. But Paco, I remember a lot of my friends. I never bought XRP, but a lot of my friends got it at fractions of a penny. Um, I don't know what it was at. It was could have been like a hundredth of a penny or something. Very very early back then. I'm trying to remember. It was definitely a different narrative behind it. It wasn't as like culty and stuff. It was more of a tech play. But I remember even back then there was a lot of FUD around it. But yeah, I remember seeing XRP go from a couple, a tenth of a cent to, I don't know what it went to in that bull run, but I think it flipped ETH for a second in 2017, which is nuts. But yeah, man, it's crazy to see something go from tenth of a cent to where it is now. XRP, again, I do have long positions on it. That I'm still 50% of it still there. Don't have a lot of spot XRP. But with that being said, XRP is one of the few coins that has both like an institutional narrative plus just like the probably the strongest cult community ever. So in a time where institutions are just extremely relevant, obviously in crypto, plus I think we're gonna get a lot of normies back in. I could see something like XRP just absolutely exploding. So I think it's actually entering a really good area to probably add. I'm probably going to add a bit to my long position. I accumulated a long all the way between here and down here. Took off about 30% of it down here, and probably add back a bit more here soon. But yeah, I think XRP could make a run. $5 to $10 at least in a strong 2026. It's kind of would be my base case, but still kind of lingering below that 2025 all time high. Um, and yeah, I think it's going to rip so in 2026. Shout out to Crypto Nick for the word. Yeah, Crypto Nick is lit. Sold Giga early because I thought it will go low, but now I will, but with my spares. So let's see. And Launchcoin was pumping today as well. Yeah, I'm bullish on the launch pads, like the top 3 to 5 launch pads. I don't know too much about bags or whatever, but I know um, launch coin. Pretty deep correction. What are we at? Oh, wow. That's like 75, 80%. But after such a big move like this, honestly, not surprised. Um, I don't know. I don't keep up too much with the every day of launch coin. I think to me, there's a few good things going for it. I think this is a very nice corrective channel. Again, I hope you guys are starting to recognize here when I say corrective, what I really mean is that, again, impulses are straight moves up or down. You want to be in impulses to the upside. That's everybody's goal, whether they know it or not. They're essentially trying to accumulate to catch the impulse. And in between impulses are corrections. Impulses are more straight moves to the upside or downside with big green candles or big red candles with very little pullback in between, where corrections are the opposite. There'll be a move down, choppy behavior, move down, bounce, move down, bounce. What this tells me is that sell pressure, even though it's strong, it's it's uh it's drying up. And what I like to think of these things are kind of springs or coil ups, like I like to call them, where essentially you think of a coil, you push down on it, it's going to go down, right? But eventually it comes to a point where sell pressure or the pressure that you put down on the coil, I'm cooking right now, but no, the pressure that you put down on the coil, um, eventually it's going to be pushed down so much pressure on it that it's going to explode back to the upside. That's essentially what these corrections are. Is essentially coil ups before the next move up, and that's exactly what Launchcoin is seeing. Even though this is 70 or 80% launch correction, this is looking really nice here. Honestly, I might add some Launchcoin after this call, but yeah, I could see it doing something like this. Maybe coming down a bit more, kind of consolidating a bit, and then moving back to the upside. So what would that be? If you were just to get the all-time high, that's like a 5 or 6x. So obviously don't go and 10x long this right now. I think it could take a little bit to play out, but I really like the way Launchcoin looks on the chart. And then two, just from the little bit that I know about, Pasternak and everything, I think again he demands attention. Like there's a lot of, he's a polarizing kind of character, like a person that commands a lot of attention, right? And I think that's always a good thing when you have an application that actually is promising. And I do like the narrative of having just a launch pad more for these internet capital markets companies or companies to go in. But then also you have a founder that also commands a lot of attention with everything there too. So I like Launchcoin here. I think it probably has a strong 2026 as well. But yeah, I want to go ahead and do a quick reset. I haven't done this yet, but if you guys could please like, comment, retweet, bookmark the stream. I do these streams twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays at usually 10:30 a.m. PST. I'm gonna add a Twitter space or two as well. I really want to talk to a lot of you guys as well. Have you guys come up and hear what you guys have to think and all that good stuff. But yeah, love doing these streams. Again, if you guys could please like, comment, retweet, shoot me a follow, always appreciated. And then check out, if you haven't already, I know a lot of you are already in there, but the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. I'm super active on Twitter, but the Telegram channel is where I post a lot of my more in-depth trade ideas, where I'll go more in depth in why I see, why more in depth on different coins and why I think they're going to go up and down and all that good stuff. Tips and tricks, live streams, giveaways. My business partner, good buddy, Boss Man, also posts a lot of good stuff in there. So check us out if you haven't already. Let me see. Let me get back to the chat before I move on. What's everybody's opinion, your opinion on Uranus? So as far as like fundamentally everything that's going on behind the scenes with Uranus, I really just don't keep track of. I haven't really been keeping up on this coin too much. From what I've seen, there's a lot of like mixed opinions. A lot of people I've seen think it's like super, cabal-y or whatever, like on the soul side. A lot of people think it's going to continue to go up for a long time. I would say chart wise, this looks pretty corrective. Again, choppy behavior, pretty deep correction. Again, just chart wise, I could see this moving higher, but I don't really have strong conviction or too much else I can tell you other than that. But let's just say one of my greatest coins that I love the community, great founder, all that good shit, was in check, and I saw a chart like this, I would be pretty bullish. But again, I don't know all that other stuff and other little things. So, important question: do you recommend 2x leverage with all in, just buying and holding? So I think buying and holding, if you're just, especially if you're new to crypto or you don't have like at least 3 to 5 years in the game, I would focus on having at least 80% of your portfolio in spot coins. Of that 80%, you want to have most of it in Bitcoin, ETH, Sol stables, and then just and then 20% for the at the most for the pump fund, prediction markets, all that different stuff for leverage trading. And even then, to answer your question, Mr. Empathetic, I use no more than 7x leverage, and I'm somebody who I feel like has a bit of an edge and has a lot of experience, right? But even then, dude, 3x, there's nothing wrong with using 3x leverage. For me, I use leverage and perps as a way kind of like a swing trading method. I don't really trade, super small setups or anything. But even then, 3x leverage will give you plenty of room and, give you a lot more peace of mind. So if you're going to use leverage, I would not use anything more than 3 to 5x personally, if I had, didn't have a ton of experience. What about Moo? I think Moo, it could go either way. I don't have a lot of conviction on Moo. The chart's pretty wrecked though. 140K for Bitcoin in September is possible. Of course, it's possible. Is it going to happen? Who knows? We'll see. Gonna long pump on this dip. Yeah, be careful, bro. And again, we're still in a volatile time. Bitcoin could move down, and as we've seen in the past, usually or sometimes the last gasps of like a correction are usually pretty violent. So be careful. Shout out to you, Zilla. Congrats on the giveaway win. Just so you guys know, I am gonna do a giveaway at the end of the stream to 2 people who have commented on the stream. Just a little love to you guys during this time that again I think it's just a great time to be accumulating. So we'll get a little bit of USDC to the homies in the chat. All you got to do is just to someone randomly in the comments of the stream. This one right here. Sorry, the original one right here. But let's see. A few months back, Sol hit 95. Bonk partnership with WLFI. Yeah. Stuff like Fartcoin, Giga, useless, still meme coins or altcoins. Those are all meme. That's I would call those meme coins. I think meme coins, like when people think meme coins, they just think like just a meme or like a typical picture. I think there's gonna always be like meme coins on everything. People are gonna create them, but I think Giga. I don't know much about useless, Fartcoin, SPX. A lot of these are more movement or mission coins where there's like a broader mission or movement behind it. I think those ones are gonna be the ones that command like huge market caps, right? If you like to believe eco, keep an eye on startup. Let's look at startup. I've seen you and Embermain, the homies, talking about that. I think he was talking about it too. Let's look at startup. Let me know in the chat, Kick, on why you're bullish on startup other than the chart. So it does look. I looked at this down here when it was just starting to first correct. Obviously, deep correction. This is not something I would necessarily say is extremely corrective in the sense that it has had big moves down, but I do like to draw the corrective channels on there so that I know when it breaks above the corrective channel where kind of confirmations that it for just certain confirmations. With that being said, it is bullish that it's at least bouncing so that even if it were to come down one more time, what this is signifying to me is that this is more of a corrective move with this bounce. It wasn't corrective at the beginning, but now that it's made a bounce, it does look more corrective, and it doesn't, instead of like these more straight impulsive move down. With that being said, if it comes back down to, I could see it either coming back down and forming a equal low where it just retests and forms a double bottom, or if it gives you a fresh low, that's probably, if it's going to go back up and have a strong 26 with everything else, that's probably going to be it. That's usually what we see. Again, one low, this would be the second low. And these corrective channels almost always have 2 to 4 lows before they go up. So yeah, I could see a little bit low. This is, if you're really bullish on startup, this is probably the leg you want to be accumulating on. Learn what correction means now. Yeah, essentially corrections. A lot of people use the term correction. You can just think of it as a pullback or cool off period in between big moves up or down. But where a lot of people don't go as far as is that corrections, these pullbacks have distinct behaviors versus impulses and peaks, which are tops and bottoms. And identifying this corrective behavior allows us to add with certainty or with more confidence, add before the next move up or down. Shout out to you, MetaMac or Medics. Appreciate you for sharing the stream. Liked, commented, retweeted UG. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, Zilla. Yeah, I always see you, Misfit Hunter. Appreciate you for real. Opinion on Peanut chart. That's interesting. Let's look at Peanut real quick. So Peanut is kind of what I was talking about a second ago, where it's more just a movement. I'm sorry, not a movement. A singular meme based on one animal or like one moment in time. But with that being said, Peanut was a pretty big moment. A lot of people do know that. A lot of normies will know that, and it is on Coinbase. So with that being said, it has been holding this low here since April. I haven't been paying attention to the Peanut community. Is there still people active? I couldn't tell you, but I will say chart wise, it has been holding this low. It has been holding this low for what, like I said, 4 months here, kind of correcting and chopping into this low as well. You know, so many times before these big bull markets start, there's just things that you would think never go up that just go crazy because of these normie types and how much money they have to pour in as a whole, as a collective. So the fact that Peanut is correcting like this into this 4 month low, with it being on Coinbase and being a normie friendly coin, I think it probably leaning towards it bottoming out here. Has a pretty similar setup to Trump as well. I would not be surprised to see Peanut at least have a move up. Now, does it go back to all time highs? Who knows? I'm still personally way more bullish on coins that have a movement or a bigger mission behind them with like a bigger ceiling. Whereas Peanut, it's just like it only goes as far as the moment in time in the uh, animal. Albeit it was a big moment in time, but I still think movements like SPX, Giga, Mog, where people are in it for more than just price go up, where there's like a deeper movement or, you know, mission behind it, I think those just have way more upside. So Peanut, I could still see it doing well though. Never go all in on leverage, yeah. Shout out to you, Ghostburster. Thank you, brother. Do you use any algo? No, I don't use AI. Again, I don't use any indicators at all, really, and that doesn't mean none of them work, but I think a lot of indicators are lagging. And RSI, for example, these different things are good, I think, for just like a little bit of a extra confluence on top of everything else, right? So again, a lot of what I use is just strictly gauging what phase we are in the market, whether it be corrective behavior, whether we're exhibiting peak like behavior, which is usually some type of consolidation, or we're in the middle of an impulse. That again tells me what I should be doing, either whether taking profits on an impulse, adding and buying and holding during a correction, or maybe starting to take profit or taking profit on a peak, which is a top or bottom. Man, you will be the biggest dog meme. I could see it. Maybe not bigger than like Doge and stuff, but I could see it being one of the hottest new ones. Yo, shout out to you, Maloof. How you doing, bro? Maloof says, yo, Bren, let's assume in a few months we indicate a clear top and no sign of a continued bull. Are we ending the bull with all USD or keeping some in Bitcoin and ETH? Great question, Maloof. So I think it just depends on your goal. I can go ahead and tell you kind of my view on the market, or just my view on that is that, and I think this is kind of the best way to go about it, I think, is putting, for me, I view Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol as a way for me to accumulate wealth. And a lot of people want to accumulate wealth in USD or USDC or stable coins. Totally understandable. And don't get me wrong, I definitely, take some profit into stables and take some lifestyle fucking chips off the table sometimes, right, too. But overall, I view Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol as a way for me to accumulate wealth over time. I'm extremely bullish on the adoption of digital assets, especially those three. And in that world, I want to accumulate wealth in those three. With that being said, if Bitcoin and ETH and Sol, Bitcoin and ETH, those three, I'm really not taking profits on anytime soon. If ETH were to go to like 15, 20, 25,000, maybe I'll take a small percentage off, into USDC, just because I think the likelihood at that point that we come down is higher. But I'm essentially trying to accumulate Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol long term. And the way I position my portfolio is to be mostly weighted in the investor bucket, which is, again, Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, stables, and coins that we know have a very high likelihood of being around in 5 or 10 years. So to answer your question, say that we go up, we top out here in 3 or 4 months. Am I going to be selling Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol? Probably not. Again, unless they're just at crazy euphoric levels. As far as the meme coins go, anything outside of those three, I'm taking profits, partial profits, pretty aggressively on the way up. Something like SPX, Giga, Mog, I am personally going to take partial profits, 25, 50, maybe 75% off if they go into the 10, 20, 30 billion market cap ranges. But certain coins like that, I am holding at least a percentage of it in coins that I do believe had like a more of a long-term future. So to answer your question, definitely going to take profits very aggressively on the way up in anything outside of Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. But Maloof, to directly answer your question, I'm personally not going to be taking any off of Bitcoin and ETH unless they're just at insanely euphoric levels. Like let's say Bitcoin or ETH goes from 5K all the way up to 15K in a matter of 6 months. I might take a little bit off the board again, just to take a little profits off of. Other than that, if we continue to slowly grind up for Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol for the next 3 or 4 years, I'm probably just going to continue to buy and hold those things. While using the memes and alts as a way to accumulate more. So that's just the way I see it. Everybody has different goals. I know a lot of people who just take profits straight into to stables and they do really well as well. It's all about your personal goals. How low could we see Bitcoin and mid caps go? I think Bitcoin bottoms out between here and 100. I could see it wicking below 100 quickly, but I don't think it goes much lower than that. But yeah, I think Bitcoin heads into this 109, 110 to 100 area. Probably continues to chop down into there and then maybe ends with a little bit of consolidation. Though last in June, we didn't really get much consolidation. It kind of was just over. But yeah, I think we're going to probably head a bit lower, but I think we're coming close to the end of this correction for Bitcoin. Do you think BSC chain could bring back the 2021 hype and be a serious contender for Soul Trenches? Another amazing question. Crypto Lover, I know you asked me a question earlier that I don't think I touched. So please let me know what that was. I know it was a good question. But okay. So to answer your question about BSC, do you think BSC chain could bring back the 2021 hype and be a serious contender for the Soul Trenches? Amazing question. So BSC back in 2021 was crazy. That's actually where it was like Doge and SHIB, and then everybody else was trading on BSC. Could it make another run at that? Absolutely. I think CZ has shown that he's very opportunistic in like a good way. He knows when to hop on kind of trends and kind of push when the timing's right on certain things. And I think when he sees normies and an influx of new capital coming into Binance, which I don't know if you guys saw yesterday too, posted in the Telegram channel, but I think the US CFTC is actually allowing or working on a way that US citizens can get access to offshore exchanges like Binance. So, especially in a world like that where more normies are going to US based normies are going to have access to Binance and as like a way to market the BSC chain to them too. I think it's just to answer your question, I could definitely see a world where BSC chain has a major run. Mostly just because I think there's just going to be such an influx of capital. A lot of the people are going to remember BSC from before. And, I think Solana, ETH, BSC, there can be just enough capital to go around, at least in the short term, where we could see all of them kind of thrive. So, yeah, I could see a world where BSC chain actually does well in 2026. Yeah. Okay, perfect. We found your other question, Crypto Lover. What do you think is the future of the trenches and the meme coin trading / gambling? Another amazing question. So the way I view 2026 in my world, in my eyes, again, we're going to see an influx of normie retail capital in for the first time since 2022. And in that world, every other time we've seen these people first and foremost like to buy coins that are usually bigger coins for the most part. Like the general, most of the capital from these people tends to be on stuff that they can find on Coinbase and stuff they find interesting, and kind of bigger movement stuff like that. And in that world, I think again I think SPX, Gigas, Mogs, these bigger movement coins that make great content. A lot of them are already on Coinbase. Those ones are just ripe for a lot of these normies to come in. With that being said, I think some of these people are going to come in and trade on chain pump fund stuff. But again, I think a vast majority of that capital is just going to go into Coinbase coins, and coins that they can easily buy on Robinhood and stuff like that. But with that being said, there's not too much money in the trenches anyway. So even a small influx from these normie types will be a huge, influx of capital and could really ignite the trenches again. I think it could go either way. I think the surefire way to get big gains in 2026 is going to be betting on these great coins, the Gigas, SPX, Mogs, Pengus, Fart or Housecoin, USDUC, these coins that have been around for a little bit, and are just like at great levels. But with that being said, I do see very likely that there is going to be a group or a sect of these new normie types that do go into pump fund coins and who do use it as a way of gambling. Do I think pump fund trading gets as big as like sports gambling? Who knows? I think there's going to be huge bubbles and there's going to be huge influxes of runs and then just like where almost nobody's trading them like now. But generally, I think the trenches are going to make a comeback in 2026. And I think we're probably going to see the highest volume on pump fund launches that we've ever seen. I'm sorry, yeah, pump fund volume. And I just don't I think there's just so few people trading these things right now that even 10, 20, 50, 100,000 people come in and start trading these coins again, that it could be a huge influx and a huge condition, huge wave of great conditions coming for these trenches the trenches. So, I mean, gun to my head, do I have to guess in 2026 if the trenches are strong again? Yes, I do think very likely with this new normie capital that's going to come, some of that is inevitably going to flow into the pump fund, bonk.fund, the Believe app trenches. And so, yeah, I think it'll be movement, coins, and trenches. I think that's usually how it is. People try to, usually it's going to probably be a pretty broad thing. What's the future of Sol meme coin gambling? I think it probably has yet to see its strongest point as far as volume. Bro, BSC was taking no fee. Yeah, there was super low gas fees on BSC. From what I understand, those they actually kind of did get higher once a lot of people were using it, though. Do I use Doji, Hammer, all that? Not too much. Again, like, yeah, no, I don't use dojis and all that stuff because those are just one piece of information, just like one just doesn't give us a lot of information. Let's go ahead and see what's good on Twitter real quick. Let me know if there's anything you guys want to look at, any questions, comments, anything that you've been wondering, kind of want to get dialed before this next phase in the bull run. I think the number, and again, we're working right now on a longer, a place where I have a lot of longer form content that'll go into all of these different, all these different principles and stuff that has really helped me kind of in longer form videos. Look out for that soon. We'll be talking about it on the stream. But if I were to start over right now, or just typically the few things that you should be focusing on, or the things that I focus on during these times, is making sure that you have your profit taking strategy dialed in, right? A lot of people are going to make money in the next couple months, but most people are not going to get out alive because they get drunk by all the euphoria. You see a bunch of people getting drunk with the bearishness right now. It's going to be the opposite at the top, or when things are heated up, everybody's going to be drunk on euphoria and drunk on the prices going up, that most people are never going to take profits. That's why you have to set up a profit taking strategy ahead of time. Whereas you guys can definitely go and check out in the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'll show you real quick. Where we at? Bossman Calls Telegram channel. Have an in-depth video. What is this, like I don't know, 15-minute video going into my exact profit-taking strategy. But essentially, you want to have a profit-taking strategy set up ahead of time so that when the bull market is in full fucking raging bull market mode, you can take the emotions and the greed and your friend telling you in your ear, oh, we're going to keep going higher. You can take all of that out of the equation and strictly just have a system that, again, takes all the emotions out of it. That's the only way you're going to make it out of there. You have to have essentially a profit-taking strategy that says, once this coin goes up this certain percentage, I'm taking this certain percentage off. For me, that what that looks like as far as a meme coin goes, a meme coin that I'm accumulating right now when it's down 5 to 10x or 50 to 90%, is that once the coin goes up 3 to 5x from my entry, if it goes straight to 3x, I'll do it there. If it hesitates at 3, I'll do it there. If it goes straight to 5, I'll do it there. I'm taking off 25% of my original entry. What that allows us to do is essentially get risk-free. At that point, everything is house money. I put it back into ETH and Sol. I can't lose now. What that allows us to do is to take the emotion out of it. You're at way more peace of mind. You can't really lose at that point. And it allows us to still, at that point, hold a bit of exposure in that coin in case it keeps going up. It allows us to eliminate the two biggest dilemmas that most traders face, which is selling everything way too early, and the biggest one, which is round tripping. We've all round tripped way too fucking much, right? And the way that we eliminate that is by setting a profit taking system, right? I actually saw a video yesterday on YouTube where the guy was talking about how he had FWOG, which FWOG is another great coin that looks really good right now, but he had FWOG at like under 100K. He had 1%. And he talked about how he sold it for like 80 SOL or something. Whereas and I'm not shitting on that guy, I think, he's doing really well, but like, let's just say, if he would have held that thing to at least 10x and instead just took off 25%, held the rest, not only would he have been in huge gains there and he would have locked in some like massive gains, but he'd still have that FWOG so that when it went up to 800 million, he wouldn't have missed out on millions of dollars. You kind of see what I'm getting at here, that again, profit taking system, you have to set it up ahead of time. That's the only people that are going to make money is the people who press the sell button. I remember Alex Becker, he put out a survey. By the way, if you definitely go and check out this video by Alex Becker. He just put out this video 3 days ago. Fucking hilarious video, but also he goes into how he's going to be taking profits, all that. But all of these different guys who are trading meme coins and altcoins, everybody who has, I've seen success for year after year, they have a profit taking strategy. They don't just leave it up to their emotions. So definitely check out that video in the Telegram if you haven't already. We're working on a more, a group of videos, not only videos, but also text diagrams for those of the people who are more of readers, so that you can, I can share with you exactly the different things I'm doing as far as portfolio configuration, profit taking, all that. Let me go ahead and share Bitcoin chart again. Do you have any technique for scanning meme coins? So I'm more of a buy and hold coin guy for coins that are more established. I don't really scan meme coins that much, so I'm not, especially right now. Usually when the trenches are kind of more hot, I'll do some scanning and I'll do some trenching with the homies. But right now, I'm strictly focused on accumulating, buying and holding these coins that are down 50 to 90% that I know are like surefire 5 to 10x's if I just stay patient. Where do you trade mostly, DEX or some others which required KYC? I'm mostly holding spot on chain, right? So on chain meaning, I'm buying and selling most of my coins using DEXs. Yeah. I mean, you forget to make video for YouTube, so just reminding. No, that's fair. We're working on all that stuff right now. Kind of having a 10 to 20 hours of content to put out all at one time. So I appreciate the reminder though, brother. Will you see 1 million runners like previous years soon? Yes. I think not only you're going to see 100 million runners, but what the biggest thing is that we're going to see where, the 5 billion is going to become the new 1 billion, I think, for a lot of these meme coins. We're going to see SPX, Giga, MOG, ticker Bitcoin. A lot of these start to go into the 3 to 5 billion range, kind of creating a new paradigm. Like, the first person ran the 4-minute mile, and then years later, fucking 10, 20, 30, 100 guys were doing the same shit. I think the same kind of thing is going to happen with a new kind of meme coin paradigm for market cap, is that I think once some of these coins like the SPX, the Gigas, Pengu start hitting 3 to 5 billion, it's going to unlock like a new paradigm of a lot of these coins hitting the same market cap. So, yeah, to answer your question, I think there'll be a lot of 100 million runners in the trenches too. What are your thoughts on paid channels? There's some guys out there who have the expertise and the experience to charge for their work. I think they're few and far between. I think there is a lot. I think I do agree with the sentiment that most of this stuff you can learn for free. With that being said, there's nothing wrong with paying somebody who, again, has the track record and who has the proven experience. They're not just coming into trading the last year or two. Maybe they have 5 years plus in the game. They have a track record. You can kind of tell maybe a little bit of a lifestyle thing. Doesn't matter. I'm not talking about Lambos and like all that shit, but you can just tell like this person is competent, and mostly again that track record and time in the game. There's a few people out there who you can pay them and to cut down your learning curve. Essentially, that's what I'm trying to do with my content. I've chosen not to do the paid route. I'm just putting everything out for free. Um, my number one goal is to hopefully help people cut their learning curve down, and stuff that took me 5, 6, 7, 8 years to learn. Hopefully, help them learn in a few or 1 year, whatever, while experiencing it for themselves. I think there's a select few people out there who have the expertise to charge for their stuff, especially if that comes with some type of community plus like coaching type of thing. If they have some type of coaching where you can get on one-on-one calls or even group calls and you can ask these people questions more on like a real personal basis, kind of like how we're doing here. There's nothing wrong with paying people if it's going to help you cut down your learning curve. With that being said, very few people I think actually have the expertise and the track record to really garner that, paid groups. There's some good people out there though. Thank you, and AD. I tried, brother. Just trying to help people be that person that I wish I had when I was started. We love you. Thanks, man. Klein funding and for traders. Yeah, I don't know. I've never really gotten into that world. I know a lot of the funding and stuff is kind of scammy. They're kind of just not really your trades really aren't doing anything. They're kind of just collecting off people losing. But yeah, I haven't really gotten too much into the funding world. I would say use your own money to learn, and once you get the skills down, like the actual skills of trading and all that, you won't ever need funding. Is it time to buy the dip or stuff crash further? Arsham, I think it's time to buy the dip, but also stuff could crash further. I think don't overcomplicate it. Buy spot, don't use leverage. Accumulate coins that you have belief in, and essentially, I would put it down to accumulate projects that have a community or a team still building and still gung ho and like still building despite prices being down. If a coin just completely disappeared, the founders, everything just completely went ghost, that's probably your sign that there might not be longevity there. But if there's people persisting and believing and pushing and bag working, all that shit during times like this, that's the coins you want to be looking at. Giga, SPX, Mog, Pengu, all these coins still have active people rating, representing, doing all this stuff during times like this. So that's what I would look for. Any good book recommendations? Market Wizards is one. It kind of is like breaks down like stories from a lot of these great traders. I think the number one thing that I've just loved from long form content, watching a lot of these podcasts, is that I've been able to learn from people who have a lot more experience and are experts in their field. Bankless, Thread Guy is actually having a lot of these type of people on right now. Watch the long form content with interviews from experts and people you want to learn from. That's where I've gotten the most from, for sure. Let's go and check out Twitter. Now that Bitcoin's just chopping down again, if you're just hopping in, appreciate you guys for being on. Go ahead and watch back earlier in the stream. We went more into depth on, I gave my full bull case from corrective chart patterns to the sentiment on Twitter to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index to the Apple iPhone or the Apple iOS App Store and how Coinbase is still very low on that, how coins are still down 50 to 90%. Towards the top of the stream, we went into that and why I think 2026 is going to be the strongest year of this bull market. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. Like, comment, retweet, shoot me a follow. Always appreciated. So yeah, I think Bitcoin comes back down a little bit more, maybe 100, 105 range. And I think that's where we see the bottom. So it means we can see YouTube videos and face cam. Yeah, no, actually, I'm going to do the face cam soon. I think it's time. No reason not to at this point. Do you know what Paraverse token? No. Well, I'll check it out for you. Paraverse? Paraverse. Yeah, no, I don't know. You have to send me the thing. Let's check out what's going on Twitter, though. Oh, why is it doing that? Share my screen real quick. All right. Shout out to all you guys. Another great session. Shout out to you, Bullet. Thank you, brother. Let's see. Let's go. If I can go to the Bull Runch. Thank you, Crypto Lover. I always love when you guys send me these. I'm gonna start using some of these. These are fucking sick. But do it. The Ethereum in there. That's lit. Thank you, Zilla. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. What's up, Mike? Ugo. Seeing a lot of the regulars in here. I always fucking love seeing you guys. Honestly, these guys, you have stuck around here, and not just in my streams, but everything, and you're just continuing to build. Like, you are the guys. You are the people who are going to see the results. Every big breakthrough that I've made in the market is when times just previous that I was really locked in, like still trying to learn, still locked in not going away when the market's down. Miss Bull, Miss D. What's up? Henry Jones, Richie Flames, Kick. Love your work too, Kick. Shout out to you. Yeah, this one's lit too. Let's see what's happening on Twitter though, if anything. Yeah, I agree. I think. Oh, this is based Fartcoin. I don't really know too much about that. New blockchain test seems to be pretty quiet. Y'all see that Leap? He raised 150K for the water shit. That's pretty cool. Shout out to him. A lot of people getting fucked up on Hyperliquid. Be careful with leverage during these times. Quiet. Let's look at some NFTs real quick. NFTs are kind of down this week, not gonna lie. Let's go as a whole. Moonbirds back down to 2.8. Everything's kind of chilling. I think Q4 to Q1 are gonna be very strong for NFTs. And I think once, especially if we get some type of catalyst, like some type of company buys an NFT company and launches a token, like Recmondo is saying, or just a number of things. Usually that's what happens. We get some type of catalyst that just kicks everything off. I think maybe something to pay attention to is, again, the Clarity Act, and a lot of these things are going to allow for founders to actually do stuff with NFTs where they maybe weren't allowed to in the past. So I could see something like that, some type of celebrity or some type of major company launching an NFT collection, something like that. But I think there's just all the signs, just like crypto. I think all the signs are pointing to a kind of a strong resurgence for meme coins. I'm sorry, for meme coins, for NFTs. I think we're finally going to get I think what it's going to be though is going to be really kind of concentrated in like the 7 to 10 projects that survived this winter, and then Super Bowl. I think meme coin NFTs are going to do really well too. Let me see. Where was that? I want to share this video really quick. Where the fuck is it? Let me see here. I want to send this to myself real quick. All right, give me 2 seconds. This is Gary V talking about NFTs and kind of the next few years for NFTs. Oh, it's just not even working. Hold on. I don't know what. Oh, it's got to be the sound.
Obviously, if you go back to those videos in 2021 when I was talking about them, the talk track was the same. This is early. This is like Web 1.0. 99% of these things are going to zero. You know, when people want to jump on me on that thing, they like to conveniently leave out all the videos I put out that said 99% were going to zero. 3 weeks ago, $132 million worth of NFTs were bought in a week.
Saw that. Yeah.
But nobody, including the inner circle of NFT collectors, even could believe that, because the brand of NFTs are so faded, so, low. Front page of the Wall Street Journal in the spring, summer of 2000 says the internet was a fad because Amazon, eBay, PayPal, their stocks went from $150 to $4, $3 because of the collapse. What happened in Web 1.0 and what happened in Web 3.0 with NFTs was the same thing. Greed took over the macro. Am I bullish? CryptoPunks, which was the first NFT I was most talking about and excited about as the OG, the real one, I think as we are filming right now is somewhere in the ballpark of $225,000 for the cheapest one. They were $14,000 to $30,000 when I was talking about them. That's a good return. Peggy Penguins, Bored Apes, Azuki, VFriends. There's 7 to 10 projects that are building through this winter. We'll see what comes out of it, right? So the cheapest VFriend right now from Series 1, my biggest collection, the cheapest one as we sit here right now is $6,000. That's above what everybody bought it for when they came out. Many are much more expensive than that. I'm incredibly bullish because I believe that collecting is on the precipice of being in the same place that music, sports, fashion, and food were. And what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's bullish overall just to see somebody like Gary, who was pretty much just ahead of the NFT shit in 2021, talking about how every contract and every real estate and everything's going to be on chain and on NFTs, which I mean, we're starting to see play out now slowly. Bullish to see him start talking bullish like on the actual industry again. And I think the same thing is going to happen, whether it be in 2025 or 2026, 2027. I do think just like the internet stocks in 2000, when everybody thought the internet was dead, a few years later, the companies that kept building and are actually valuable came out of it, and the assets themselves, not only did the internet take over the world, everybody's using it, but the Amazons, the Googles, the NVIDIAs, stuff like that went on to becoming the biggest companies in the world. I think the same thing is going to happen in the NFT world on the side of IP. So I'm really bullish on VFriends. I think that's by far the biggest sleeper in both like where it's going to be in terms of mindshare, but also the price. I mean, these things at 1 ETH with an all-time high of 20 ETH, still down 95%. I think and not just for VFriends, but just VFriends specifically, like I think in hindsight, 5 years from now, it's going to be so fucking obvious. Like the Gary V NFT down 95% before the second NFT bull run. Same thing you could say with Bored Apes too. A lot of these projects, Bored Apes down 90% versus before the second NFT bull run. I think there's just so many crazy opportunities because the biggest reason is people aren't seeing this coming. Most people assume that the main consensus right now is that we'll never see another NFT bull run, that we'll never see something like 2021. But not only do we think we see something like 2021, but I think we see something that probably surpasses it in euphoria, but definitely the main projects, the VFriends, like you said, the Uzukis, Bored Apes, Pudgies, obviously, I think continue to do really well and go up in floor price, despite ETH also going up in USD. So, yeah, NFTs, I think right now are quiet. I think people are still a lot of uncertainty. There's either just kind of two crowds, people who just aren't even paying attention, and then people who are just gung-ho bullish, like myself. I think pretty soon in 2025, the NFTs, right along with crypto, is going to be very popular. We're going to see new mints again. It's going to be another strong period for NFTs, and so I think that'll be exciting. Do you know? Oh, you already asked me that. I seriously can't watch anything nowadays. Last time I watched some movies or series 2 years back. Yeah, I don't watch movies really too much either. Would NFTs be still worth buying? Are they old now? No, I think NFTs, obviously not everything. I think most stuff, like Gary was saying, 98% of them died and never going to come back. But the 2%, like the V-Frenzy Azuki, Bored Apes, Pudgy Penguins, maybe Doodles, stuff like that, I think are going to have a resurgence. And then I think there's going to be meme coin NFTs. Maybe if you're a meme coin guy, that might be what you want to focus on or look good at. So I like the Proto Gremlins, the Aeons. You got the little chillers just popping up. There's not too many meme coin NFTs out yet, but I think that changes in 2026. Why do I choose to use minimal TA? Because I believe that most of these indicators are lagging and don't tell us much, and they're just noise. And I think where I see the most signal and like where I get the most results is identifying corrective behavior, whether it's in an impulse, and using this simply identifying where we are at in the cycle or in the 3 phases, and making my decisions based on that. That's not only allowed me to be very profitable over the last few years, but really accurately predict or accurately kind of call whatever most of the big corrections or bottoms for Bitcoin, ETH, Sol over the last few years. I traded a few times ETH coins that have good free fee. I'll go ahead and look at this for you, Pippis. Give me a second. Yeah, Kanye coin was a complete rug, unfortunately. Three coins went down 100% today. They went to literal zero. That's crazy. How long is my screen time? I don't know. I'm on the computer. I'm on the internet. I'm chronically online for sure. September is historically lowest price. Yeah. Yeah, I do think September is going to be a strong month. Quiet fucking time. But again, guys, I want to come on here every Tuesdays and Friday. Stay consistent with these streams. Again, this is a highlight of my week being on with you guys. It'll get stronger. We'll have more guests. We'll have more things to talk about as time goes on. But again, shout out to everybody who stayed involved, kept learning, DCAing, all that stuff, because even people who've been around for a while, it seems like every time these corrections happen, everybody finds every reason why we're going to keep going down instead of using these times to learn, to relax, get some rest, as well as accumulate good coins. Let me plug in my laptop. Give me a second. That should be good. Perfect. World Liberty Fi. Pudgy Party coming out. Anybody play this yet? Oh. Damn, Pudgy Party already #1 racing game today. Shout out to Farmer Joe. This guy's hilarious, but yeah. This is your dip. This is your chance. People are saying that they think Bonk's going to partner with Trump. WLFI. Interesting.
The 150K this cycle? No, fuck you. You're young and you're rich. Fuck out of here. I'm 22 and I'm worth 6 figures. Should I be worried? No, you should only be worried about how much vagina is going to be coming your way. You're 22 and you're fucking rich. What are you fucking asking me? Are you fucking joking? Not only should you not be worried, you've already fucking made it. You've literally fucking made it. You're 22. You have 6 figures. You have like 2 more cycles before you're 30.
Gainesy's hilarious. No, I agree with that though. It's like, dude, if you're 21, 22 years old and you feel like inadequate because you have 150 instead of a million, zoom the fuck out. Honestly, you should be fucking ecstatic. If you're young here and you took money from 0 to 100K, like, you know, that's not the average story. I think most people, even myself, don't find success like right away. But if you did and you have, like, definitely cherish that. Don't feel fucking inadequate. That's crazy. If I was 22 and was making even 100K, like, I'd be ecstatic. I remember when I was 22, I was still losing money in Forex. NASDAQ closing for the weekend. D Farmer. Shout out to D Farmer. Let's see. September. What do you think about Brett? Oh, yeah, I'll look at Brett for you, brother. Fuck. Why does this keep on sharing? All right, so Brett. Let me see if I can find the older chart for Brett. Yeah, so just based on what most of these bull markets run is that most of the time, especially since it's held this low for a few months here, that it probably is going to run it back or at least make a run. It's just, is it going to be one of the stronger coins? I don't know. I think I'm not really too bullish on singular memes where it's just based on a singular character, especially when, yes, Brett obviously had a huge run, but like how much mind share is there really around the character or the meme Brett? I don't know. I think it's cooled off for so long now. What is this, over a year since it peaked for the first time? Honestly, if I had to guess, because just most of the time how these bull runs work is that everything, at least most stuff that has any type of life left in it, is going to have a run. But is it going to make it back to all-time high? I don't know. That's not a strong bet I would make. I would, again, rather put my money into coins that are still, strong during these times, as far as like community and everything like that. I mean, Brett could still have that. I just haven't been paying attention. So I don't know. Could go either way. Again, if you believe in Brett for other reasons other than the chart, this is when you want to be accumulating, though. Furloco is out for the week. I'm pretty sure he'll be back next week. What happened to Ronaldo coin? I don't know. I think it was a LARP, or it just wasn't really it. You don't think you'll be dropping what? Most of these guys are not interested. Just some will do the cabals milking people. Yeah. Do I think SPX 6900? Yeah, I think SPX 6900 is probably best risk to reward bet in meme coins, meaning, the upside versus downside. I think it has a fuck ton of upside in the 10, 20 plus billion range. But also, if meme coins do well, there's a very low chance that SPX goes down a lot, right? So I really like SPX. I'm from the United States, California. SPX 6900. Where are you from, Arsham? Yup. Damn. But yeah, I'll stay on for a little bit longer. Quiet day. Again, I just wanted to hop on with you guys, chop it up, let you know what I think, and give you the bull case for Bitcoin and why I am not only am not worried, but I'm more confident in this next 6 to 12 months than I've ever been for crypto. I think we're seeing like the perfect storm or like the perfect combination of every single metric lining up and pointing to what I think, again, will be the strongest period for crypto maybe ever, or at least the strongest one we've seen since 2021, 2022. It seems like every time Bitcoin, ETH, Sol have come up a bunch and got a bit euphoric, it always starts to pull back. But I think there's going to come to a tipping point of momentum where it's going to keep running and we're going to get that euphoric kind of overheated period that we always got like 2020 and 2017. And yeah, I'm excited for it. Even if we don't get the craziest bull run ever, I think 2026, all signs are just pointing to this being a cool off period / pullback for another huge resurgence for not only the majors, but I think meme coins and great alts are very close to their bottoms. So, yep, I think just continuing. Damn, AOL. Definitely, if you haven't already, shoot Boss Man follow as well. But yeah, before I sign off, anything else you guys have on your mind? Anything you want me to look at? I don't know about Ronaldo dropping a coin, but Bitcoin keeps going down. I may take a drop from a window. You keep making those jokes, brother. I know you're joking, but the best is yet to come. Did you see those OF girls shilling? Yeah, I did see that clip, bro. That's funny. That's what I'm saying. Like XRP, not only does it have the institutional narrative, but you have people like those chicks like talking about on XRP. Yeah, yes, we haven't looked at it, USDUC. USDUC, I think, is a really big sleeper, and probably the coin I'm most confident in under like 50 million. Usually, I don't touch coins, or like lately, I haven't really been buying coins that are like under 100, because of these higher cap coins where they're at. But like USDC, beautiful price action. It has like a narrative where it's kind of like the not parody play, but like it's a play on USDC and stable coins in general. Unique community, good people working on it behind the scenes with the trying to get it into exchanges, all that good stuff. So I really like USDC UC here, and like Kick said, it's pulling back quite nicely right now. If you've been looking for an entry, this might be it. What do I think about ton memes? That's tough. I don't know if ton. I think most of the big chains, like the top 5 to 10 chains, will have some type of meme movement. I just don't know if, anything about ton memes or any specific ones. Yo, what's good, Carl? Crypto with Carl. Shout out to you, brother. How you doing? Just about to hop off here in a second, but what do I see? Soul touching. Downside targets are always tough. Like I don't really like to guess like prices, but I just think generally it's going to follow what Bitcoin and ETH do. Like, see, this isn't as clearly corrective to me as the other two. As far as how far down do I think it's going to go, it could go a little bit lower, but I think it's pretty close to its low here. I'd be shocked to see it much lower than 200. Where do I think it hits to the upside? It's tough, man. As far as hitting price targets, I don't really like to base my like targets based on a certain price. I think we have to see. We could see ETH hit 8K. We see it hit 12, 15, 20K. Like, I don't really like to guess prices. I think it's more so where we see sentiment and euphoria and where we see altcoins and everything when ETH is at these prices. Because we could stop at 8 and just have a short euphoric period, or we could have the strongest bull period ever where it's 15, 20K. I like to think that it will go far above 5 to 10K is probably pretty conservative. A lot of people are thinking the 7 to 8K range. A lot of people I respect, but I think that's again just a conservative number, and probably goes much higher if I had to guess. As far as Sol goes, though, it's tough, man. If ETH goes on a $4,000 to a $13,000 run, there's no reason we couldn't see a $600 or $700 Sol. Just like how I think ETH to 7 or 8K is probably a pretty conservative number. Maybe Sol to like 500. Like a 2x from here. I think that's, not fucking crazy at all to think we could see that in the next 6 months. If it hits 70, 80K in 6 months, I'll be happy. Yeah, I don't think Bitcoin hits 70, 80K, but anything's possible. Yeah, 1,500 views. Shout out to everybody. Thanks, White Salon. Thoughts on Sui? I think the top 5 to 10 L1s are just setting up nicely to go crazy. Let's go. Where's Sui? Yeah, Sui also kind of coming up into a kind of a corrective coil up. I think it'll bottom out anywhere between here and like low threes. Just like ETH, Bitcoin, Sol, I see Sui kind of coming to the end of its correction here, and very likely moves up here the next couple weeks. Thanks, Rojan. Wojak. I haven't looked at Wojak in a minute. This is kind of an OG meme. Oh, it's good to see that it's been grinding up. Jesus. God damn. How did I miss this? It seemed like it bottomed out end of July. Now it's up. Wow, like 20, 30x. Shout out to everybody. God damn, that was loud. Shout out to everybody who held Wojak. God damn. See, this is just another example of why patience in good assets pays. Like Wojak literally from April 2025 all the way down to July was down 75, 80% and then just went up 30x. So sometimes you just got to believe and be patient. So shout out to everybody who's kept holding throughout this. I would always say, if you're in down here, whatever, make sure you lock in some gains. Other than that, who knows? Maybe this continues to rip. I assume this is the Wojak that you're referring to. I like Wojak though; looks nice. Sui and Sui memes. It's tough. I think we're gonna see Lofi do well. Past that, I really am not looking at too many other ones. You're good, Crypto Carl. I appreciate the comments and the questions, bro. Be funny if Ronaldo coin. Oh yeah, there's rumors of another one dropping. I would say traditionally with those celebrity coins, if you wish to try your luck on there, just make sure to put in something like a small percentage that if that shit went to 0 in 2 seconds, you wouldn't even really blink. Because say you get in that Ronaldo coin early and it is successful, it's probably an easy 10 to 20x, right? Or 5, 10, 20x. But if it isn't and it goes to 0, just put in a small percentage where it isn't anything. I like to just honestly not really try these nowadays. It's like just the percentage of failure is just so high and it's whatever. I'm like tired of. I don't really play the Ronaldo one or the Kanye one at all, but that's how I would play it if I were to buy it. I hope you saw the Wojak chart a second ago. I shared it. I'm sharing it right now. What's the most important quality as a trader? Patience. Yeah, patience. Patience and the ability to form a thesis around a coin that goes deeper than price action. So many people are like, literally, their whole worldview on crypto is based on what the price has done recently. You have to be able to. The most important skill, I think, is being able to have conviction in assets when the price is down for other reasons. Being able to identify great assets during periods of downside. It's like most people are just their whole default whatever is like is price down. That's what I'm gonna base on. If I'm bullish or not. You got to form thesis and be bullish on stuff for reasons other than the chart. Essentially, is XRP actually so hard to ride higher? No, I don't think it's going to go to $400 or whatever, but I think it goes, $5-10 is not crazy. What was your turning point in life? I don't know. That's a tough question, but as far as turning point in crypto, I've told you guys, like it took me 3 or 4 years in crypto to really make like serious life changing gains, and then I lost almost all of it after that, and then so really it didn't take me until I was consistently like whatever, where that second time, like 5 years in to where I was really made like life changing money and really made the turning point to where I got really consistent and all that good stuff. So yeah, I would say the last few years have been really, really transformational for me, but there's definitely different breakthroughs throughout, right? I mean, easiest 2-3x. Yeah, Trump looks good here too. I like Trump here. Interesting. Yacht coin's another interesting one. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I think creator coins are actually going to be big. A lot of them. And I think yacht coin, this guy, Frankie, who's like really big. You guys have seen him everywhere, probably on Instagram and TikTok. He's actually made a lot of videos around the coin on TikTok and Instagram, which right now nobody gives a fuck on TikTok or Instagram. But once they do in 2026, I think somebody who has a really big following and also a coin, like, has been building this coin for 10 months or whatever, I think there's a good chance this one actually runs. So I bought a bit the last few weeks. I'm probably going to buy more. But that's another thing to keep an eye on, is the creator coins. Shout out to Yugong. All right, guys. I'm going to call it. I don't know how I glitched out there, but I think I'm going to call it here in a second. For someone starting out, where do you recommend to learn good info regarding reading charts? Bossman Calls Telegram channel. I think that's where you're going to get a lot of the good stuff, at least from myself, my buddy Bossman. I think you're going to learn the most from experience, but whether it be myself, Bossman, or myself, whatever, Bossman, or other people, I think the number one thing I would look for and from learning people is people who have time in the game, experience, years in the game, who have lived through these different corrections and stuff like that. As far as chart stuff goes, honestly, I think most of the new stuff that people are using, as far as like even just basic stuff, support and resistance, RSI, Fibonacci, all that stuff is kind of lagging and doesn't really paint a full picture. I would say pay attention to my Twitter and the Bossman Calls Telegram channel. I'm actually working on like 10 to 20 hours of content that goes over profit taking, chart stuff, all that good stuff. So look out for that. Experience is the best teacher, yeah. Yeah, UFD, we looked at that a couple of weeks ago. I think you came up with a spaceless. Chart looks pretty good. If Ron is still building and all that, then I would say it probably has a resurgence. But I'm pretty fucking burnt, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get some food and fucking get some other work done here in a little bit. But shout out to you guys. Love you guys. I'll be back on Tuesday. If you guys haven't already, make sure to check out. What's up, Jack? How you doing, man? Make sure to check out the Bossman Calls Telegram channel. Like, retweet, comment on the stream. I'm going to pick 200 USDC winners at the end from the comments of the stream. So shout out to you guys. Love you. See you guys on Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. PST. And hang in there. I think best is yet to come. Love you guys.